about to listen to the Dr. Daliah Show. Sassy, stimulating medical talk radio. Any medical advice Dr. Daliah Wax gives on her show should not be substituted for an actual visit to your medical provider. And now, here's Dr. Daliah.
All right. We are back on the Dr. Daliah Show. 1-877-Dr. 1-877-DOC-DALI. So a study has come out saying for those of us who live in warmer climates, if we live in an area where there's a lot of above 90-degree weather, we're going to age quicker. Now, I don't need that, okay? I'm not aging well as it is. And yes, I live in a desert climate. I live in southern Nevada. And being told that it could increase my biological aging by 14 months, I don't need that. I mean, I've been lying about my age for the longest time, but it's adding 14 extra months onto that. It just makes the lie harder to, to give. I ended up people have asked, how did I end up here? Not many people, because nobody cares, but some of you care. I ended up in Las Vegas because it is interesting. I love Las Vegas, Nevada. For those of you who live in other parts of the country, Las Vegas is fantastic. It's fun. The weather's great. A lot of nature because I like to hike and I like to be outdoors as much as I can. But I ended up here because I was born in L.A., Southern California. I was born in Woodland Hills at Cedars of Lebanon Hospital, which is now Cedars of Sinai. And my mom, no epidural, gave birth to me old school. And has reminded me of that daily, but that's okay. And I'm grateful to her. And then I guess it was really, really expensive for my parents to live there. So by the time I was about first grade, they moved to Phoenix, where my mom's family was. It was a lot cheaper. We could get an apartment that was because my father fixed appliances. We weren't wealthy. And we lived in Phoenix, but my father kind of got the gambling bug. And so he liked coming up to Las Vegas, and he liked Las Vegas so much that he wanted to live here. So I went to 12 schools because we moved back and forth between Phoenix and Vegas. When he lost too much, we ended up back in Phoenix. When he won, we ended up back in Las Vegas. So I was here back and forth. And my senior year of high school, I was in Phoenix, had some class offices, boyfriend, things like that. I was really excited. Senior year was going to be my year. I was going to hopefully get a full ride scholarship to U of A or ASU or NAU because they at the time would give you full ride scholarships if you stayed. And my folks moved to Las Vegas my senior year. Now that to me, though, was probably one of the best moves ever. I didn't like it at the time because then I was able to go to UNLV. I was able to get an academic scholarship to go to UNLV. Then I was able to meet my husband, even though we didn't date. I dated a couple of his friends and, waited for him to sow his oats. And then we finally started dating once I left Vegas and went to Reno for medical school and he went to California for chiropractic school. I realized that if I was going to get married, he was going to be the one. So I had to figure out how to lock him down. So I asked my dean if I could do my last year of medical school at UCLA. He talked to that dean. I did all my out-of-state rotations fourth year there, and that's how I did my last year through UCLA medical school. Graduated still from UNR Medical School, which was one of the most amazing medical schools out there, as is UCLA. And then I matched for residency back in Las Vegas. It was like I was always meant to be back in Southern Nevada. So whether it was Phoenix, California, or Southern Nevada, I was always going to be around 90-degree weather because I couldn't afford the coast. There was no way I could afford, if I was in California, to be near the coast. So I'm very, very grateful that I ended up being here, then starting my practice, then starting my radio show, had my kids here. Everybody in my family has now gone to UNLV. Even my son's girlfriend. So we're all UNLV, we're all rebels. And so I have a lot of pride in Nevada, a lot of pride for Phoenix, a lot of pride. I love Southern Cal. That's where my roots are. But where I live now, it gets hot. So this study looking up aging is kind of significant for a lot of us. It comes from USC Leonard, and it shows that extreme heat may speed up the aging process. If you have more days of hot weather than other areas, you will age faster. And you age at the molecular level. This was published in the journal Science Advances. The effect of it has been shown to accelerate biological aging, raising new concerns about how it could affect long-term health. This is being reported by Fox News. They said having a biological age greater than your chronological age is associated with higher risk of disease. Extreme heat, 90 degrees Fahrenheit and above. They call that extreme. Okay, you ain't seen nothing yet if you haven't lived through a Phoenix summer or a Las Vegas summer. So 90 degrees, if they're panicking about that, I'm screwed. You could just double that biological aging rate. And so according to National Institute of Aging, biological age is measured by how well your body functions at the molecular level, whereas your chronological age is based on your birth date, or your Wikipedia entry. And so senior author Jennifer Alishire, professor of gerontology and sociology at the USC Leonard Davis School, and co-author Young Choi, a USC Leonard Davis postdoctoral scholar, looked at this. They looked at blood samples, and they looked for epigenetic changes on how individual genes are turned on and off. And they looked at our epigenetic, they use these tools to make these epigenetic clocks to analyze our patterns. Then they looked at those who lived in areas, and based on their number of heat days from the National Weather Service from 2010 to 2016, they found an extreme correlation or a significant correlation between us having greater biological age after adjusting for other factors. So participants living in areas where heat days defined as 90 degrees Fahrenheit or higher occur half the year, like Phoenix, Arizona, experience up to 14 months of additional biological aging compared to those living in areas with fewer than 10 heat days per year. Now, they also even looked at humidity as well. So you don't sweat as much. And so when you are in these hot areas, why they think this happens is your body, when you're younger, can manage, but the older you are, you struggle. So I notice a lot of people will get cold quicker when they're older, or they'll get hot quicker, and they can't adjust. That's why when we talk about extreme heat days or extreme cold days, I say get grandma and grandpa out from the outside inside, get them inside as quickly as possible, because their bodies can't adjust to the heat. When you can't adjust to the heat, the extreme heat could cause damage, just like extreme cold. So yeah, for those of us who live out here, we might be screwed. 1-877-DOC-DALIAH. Don't go away.
Hi, everyone. If you've been injured in an accident and think you deserve compensation, listen up. We have legal professionals standing by right now to answer your questions for free. They'll tell you if you have a case and how much it's potentially worth. Call 800-710-5100. I'm here with spokesman John Wolf. So, John, tell our listeners who should call right now.
Well, Maria, first off, thank you for having me join you to answer the listeners' questions. Now, as far as who should call in, anyone who's been injured in an accident and think you deserve compensation, give us a call right now and find out how much your case is potentially worth. Call 800-710-5100.
Thanks, John. You heard it, folks. If you think you deserve compensation, call now to find out how much you qualify for. 800-710-5100.
Advertisement sponsored by Legal Help Center. May not be available in all states.
At Hotshot Secret, we share the science behind common diesel problems and their solutions. For example,
Hotshot Secret Stiction Eliminator.
Stiction, that sticky friction, undermines the performance of diesel engines. Third-party ASTM testing verifies that Stiction Eliminator removes 2 times as much stiction than any alternative on the retail shelf. Stiction Eliminator is formulated to be left in the engine oil. It works as you drive.
Available at truck stops, Tractor Supply, O'Reilly's Auto Parts, and online at HotShotSecret.com. Hotshot Secret. Powered by science.
In a study, it was found that 33% of 44 herbal supplements had no trace of the advertised herb. Now, don't let that happen to you. Hi, this is Dr. Mitch. If you want to ensure quality, please go to TotalWellness.com. Supplements made for physicians only now available to you too. TotalWellness.com, helping you to look good, feel good, and enjoy total wellness.
on the Dr. Daliah Show. Thank you all for tuning in. 1-877-Dr. 1-877-DOCDALI. Big thanks to Talk Media Network for making the show happen. Big thanks to Daniel, our producer, and big thanks to you all for tuning in. We really do appreciate it. Don't forget to follow us on X or Twitter at Dr. Daliah, Facebook, The Dr. Daliah Show, and on YouTube, click like and subscribe. So here we are again. We are about to change the clocks again. This Sunday at 2 a.m., we're supposed to spring forward. I'm so sick of spring forward. That's why we have the hashtag sick of spring forward. I'm sick of this. We lose an hour's sleep. The health risks associated with this, it's stupid. It is stupid, stupid, stupid. It's archaic. We shouldn't be switching and changing our clocks twice a year. It's 2025, for crying out flipping loud. But what makes this year a little different is now we have a president that also supports ending the biannual time changes. So back in December, if you remember, Donald Trump, before he took office, said the Republican Party will use its best efforts to eliminate daylight saving time, which has a small but strong constituency, but shouldn't. Daylight saving time is inconvenient and very costly to our nation. So fascinatingly, we have bipartisan support to end the biannual time changes. When Secretary of State Marco Rubio was a senator, he would introduce the Sunshine Protection Act. And each time he did, it would get bipartisan support. In fact, I think a couple of years ago, the Senate was unanimous in passing it. But then it went to the House, and Pelosi had, at the time, because she was in charge, had, I guess, tabled it. And I don't understand, because you have a lot of Democrats that also don't want this to happen. Republicans and Democrats are kind of in agreement on this. And so what the heck is going on? So the states have voiced their concern. The states have year after year passed legislation. I've listed some of the most recent legislation, but I don't have all the latest bills because the legislative sessions has just started in many states. But if you look, almost all the states have at some point in their lifetime recently tried to stop the biannual time changes. So is it going to happen? I mean, one thing about President Trump is when he wants something to happen, it seems like it's happening. He can't do an executive order, though. A lot of people said, get Donald Trump to do an executive order for this. He can't. This has to be done by Congress. So let's just really quickly review some of the history with this, okay? So everybody says, well, this is Thomas Jefferson's. Thomas Jefferson started this. Well, Thomas Jefferson, it wasn't Thomas Jefferson at all. Basically, this started after World War I. You might be alluding to Benjamin Franklin. Benjamin Franklin had wrote this essay for Parisians explaining how they could save some money and save on candles if they woke up at a different time during the winter than waking up at a different time during the day. Now, if you were a farmer, you already did this. You would wake up when the rooster said cock-a-doodle-doo, and that would change depending on where the earth was in its rotation around the sun. But it was Benjamin Franklin who wrote this economical project for diminishing the cost of light in 1784. Everybody thinks it was him, or one of the other founding fathers that started this. It actually was the Germans. Germany, during the war, took on daylight saving time. And then the U.S. did. President Woodrow Wilson was the first to sign it into law in the U.S. in 1918 to conserve coal during the Great War. Then it was repealed. But a handful of states said, I kind of like this. So some states kept it. FDR now comes in, and now we're in World War II. So he had to reinstate wartime. And he made daylight saving time year-round, calling it wartime. But after the war, there was no federal law maintained, so states decided to do as they wished. The Uniform Time Law of 1966 attempted to unite the states in an effort, and this law was signed by President Lyndon B. Johnson. It decreed that daylight saving time begins on the last Sunday of April and ends the last Sunday of October. States had the right to vote to exempt themselves. So I remember when I was in college, around Halloween, we would have daylight saving time. That got changed again. In 2007, we had the Energy Policy Act. even though that was created in 2005 and went into effect 2007, declaring daylight saving time begins at 2 a.m. the second Sunday of March, hence what's coming up, and ends 2 a.m. the first Sunday of November. So that now shortens your standard time, which I actually like more. It tried to uniform everybody, although Hawaii and Arizona were like, no, we're not doing it. So other states are saying, look, we like daylight saving time. We like it being light outside. We don't like it being dark at 4:30 like it is in the winter. So we want to make more use of the sunlight. So Nevada, California, multiple states have asked for year-round daylight saving time. Doctors prefer daylight standard time. Doctors prefer what's going on now. I sleep better. My patients sleep better. So, and why do we prefer it? Well, one of the reasons is we see the health benefits with the fall back. During the spring forward, right, there's a higher risk of heart attacks, higher risk of depression, fertility issues. We found workplace accidents. That seems to negate during the fall back. And so maybe some doctors are like, look, people seem to do better because they get that extra hour of sleep in the fall. We're coming, to Christmas time, et cetera. But studies have found that standard time does work better for our sleep-wake cycles. Why? Well, because it's getting dark earlier. So now your melatonin has more chance of kicking in. And so if it starts getting dark around 4:35, you eat dinner earlier, which is also healthier. And then by 8, 9 o'clock, I go to bed earlier when it's standard time. I just do better. But listen, I'm for you guys. If you guys want year-round daylight saving, I'll take whatever I could get. Because all I want is the time changes to stop. It's stupid. And I wrote an article on this. I rarely have to update it because it has a list of studies. I update it for the legislation when I can. But if you want to look at the studies that happen as it pertains to daylight saving and daylight standard, I have them there for you to look at and peruse. But it's going to be fascinating now that we have a president who wants this to stop. He doesn't like a lot of the money wasting and the drama. I know people think this presidency is full of drama, but he doesn't want the drama of biannual time changes. And RFK Jr. May also, through Health and Human Services, say, look, we're done. Now, how would they do it? Remember, they've tried to do this back in the 70s. They tried to stop it. But what happened is they made the change in January. It was too abrupt. There were car accidents and everybody freaked out. So let me see if I have a little bit more data on what happened that January. It was, I think, 1973. I don't know if I have the exact. I think it was in the 1970s where what happened is they decided January of that year, okay, guys, we're going to just switch it. What Congress had done in these bills is when we get to November, we just don't change the clocks. So they could pass a law this spring and say, look, all right, when November comes, just don't change the clocks. And that's done. We're there. Or they could say next spring, don't change the clocks. But if they're going to propose year-round daylight saving time, which is kind of what the majority of the states want, they would have to pass it and then not change the clocks this November. It's doable, and it might get done because it's one of the very few things that is bipartisanly popular. Where it could get tricky is what if you have some states that say, no, I want standard. So the reason why this stalled, because everybody's like, if it's bipartisan, why the hell hasn't this gone through? Because right now we have the Pacific time zone, Mountain, Central, Eastern, Atlantic. With these time zones, if you start to have one state on one time, another state on another time, you thought it was confusing with Arizona and California and Arizona and Nevada, it could be very confusing. And so they would kind of need all the states to be on the same page, but the legislation is all about state choice. If states want standard, they could do standard. If states want saving, they could do saving. Nevada, I live in Nevada. Nevada always wants to parallel California because of the tourism that we rely on from California. So Nevada will parallel California, which means California wants daylight saving. Nevada's going to have daylight saving. But if all the states seem to roughly like, moving forward on this, this could happen, and it could happen this year. Just everybody needs to get their act together. 1-877 Dr. Daliah. Hi guys, Dr. Daliah here. Addictions can sneak up on us and come in many forms, whether it's drugs, alcohol, sex, video games, porn, or something less obvious such as food, internet, or shopping. Addiction can seem innocent at first and then evolve into an insurmountable evil. In our book, Addiction Basics, Caitlin Kalikas and I dive into the common addictions and provide tips for identifying and preventing these before they sneak in and take over our lives. Addiction Basics can be found on Amazon or my website, drdaliah.com. Check it out.
Carl Amari here to tell you about our newest website for old-time radio lovers. It's 100radioshows.com. At this site, there are 5 old-time radio shows waiting for you to download free as our gift to you, and be sure to browse the additional 700 old-time radio shows available to you for 70% off by using the promo code RADIO at checkout. This is a limited-time offer, so log on to 100radioshows.com. That's 100radioshows.com.
We are back on the Dr. Daliah Show. Thank you all for tuning in. 1-877 Dr. Dali, 1-877 DOCDALI. So hopefully those stranded astronauts on the International Space Station is going to come home soon. This is the month it should happen. They have been very, very brave. They have been very, very positive throughout this whole ordeal. But interesting, in a recent interview, you saw the frustration with the previous administration. Barry Wilmore seemed to suggest that he and his crewmate, Sunita Williams, had been caught up in political games in Washington, according to Daily Mail. When they were asked about, if the Biden administration did decline Elon Musk's offer to bring them home early, because apparently Elon Musk said Joe Biden rejected his offer to bring the astronauts home early because it would have made Donald Trump and his supporters look good. That was a big accusation from Elon Musk. So they asked them, they go, did the Biden administration decline Musk's offer to bring you home early? And Wilmore replied that what Elon Musk said was absolutely factual. Whoa. If anything happens to these two or these individuals, they should sue. They could have come home earlier. Wilmore said, I could only say that Mr. Musk, what he says is absolutely factual. Now, he and Williams were not briefed on what happened behind closed doors. He says, so I believe him. I don't know all those details, and I don't think any of us really can give you the answer that maybe you would be hoping for. But they have utmost respect for Trump and Musk. And so Trump told Musk to go and get the astronauts as soon as possible. And they should have come home after an 8-day stay last June. They arrived on the ISS on June 6th aboard Boeing's Starliner spacecraft. The spacecraft suffered numerous technical issues before, during, and after the launch. And NASA determined it would be too risky to allow the astronauts to return to Earth on Starliner. So Starliner came back uncrewed in September. NASA officials announced that decision, and then NASA Administrator Bill Nelson said, I can tell you unequivocally from a personal standpoint that politics has not played any part in this decision. It absolutely has nothing to do with it. Well, then, when you had Elon Musk and other individuals say they could help, why didn't? Since September, the Starliner astronauts have been wanting to hitch a ride home on SpaceX's Crew 9 return flight. The Crew 9 return flight is now scheduled to depart from the International Space Station on March 19th. Their return date has been changed multiple times. And so Elon Musk had said, look, it's not us. Biden wouldn't let us. And as much as I would hate to think that's the case, we've all seen that. We saw that yesterday when the Democrats did not want to clap for the 13-year-old with cancer, who was a cancer survivor, who became an honorary Secret Service agent. They didn't want to clap and honor the family of Laken Riley, of Corey Comparatori. They didn't want to honor the family members, the wife of a slain NYPD officer, because it's all about, we don't want to help Trump. Really? That's kind of un-American. You're supposed to be America first. And listen, here's my message to everybody, whether you're Democrat, Republican, Independent, whatever. Trump can't get reelected. I know everybody said, oh, he's going to want to go for a third term. No, he's not doing a third term. This is a second term. So you looking like you are being obstinate and obstructive and fighting Trump on any way is not going to help your election prognosis or your reelection prognosis. Okay? Americans are Americans first. Yeah, you have some individuals that live and die by the R or D sword, but the average American wants safety, wants a secure border, wants their kids learning in school and excelling, wants there to be jobs, wants there to be cheaper eggs, a good economy, a proper health infrastructure, ensuring that their daughter won't be raped by a Trinidad gang member. This is what the average American wants. It is okay to be on the same page. That's what bipartisan means. When you hear bipartisan support, okay? I think what everybody needs to realize is if you're running for office, you need to show Americans what did you do. I understand Trump wants to get most of the credit, and he is going to get most of the credit for a lot of the things that are getting done. But if you say, look, I supported, ending the daylight saving time changes. I supported this. I supported more security. I supported getting rid of gang members that were illegal in our town. This is what I stand for. I align with the Republican Party or the Democratic Party, but this is what I stand for, and this is what you're going to get. I'm going to listen to you. If you want a wall, I'll support that wall. If you want Trinidad getting kicked out of here, I'll support that. And so there's, if you want our stranded NASA astronauts to come home as soon as possible, despite who the president is, I'm going to do that. And that's no. Somehow it's all about you need to toe the line. And if you follow us and if you buck Trump, the anti-Trump is going to get you to win. It didn't. It didn't help this time around with the election. Americans are a little tired of the R and the D. If you're not with us, you're against us. If you're Republican, you're racist. Americans are They're pushing back. You say you're pro-women. All those Democrats are wearing pink. Then why weren't they supporting the sister and mom of the daughter who was raped and killed? And the other mom whose daughter was raped and killed? Why? Where's the support? The little boy, the 13-year-old who is a cancer survivor. If you're really pro-woman and family, you're wearing the pink, show it. The abortion issue is very controversial, but it confuses a lot of people. A lot of PR companies are like, so how do we do this? You want to support women and girls, but you're expanding abortion services, especially to those without parental consent, how are you protecting the girl? Are you protecting the girl fetus? Are you there for that child once they have an abortion? Are you there for that teenager? Where's the ongoing years of support when somebody may have that regret? Where is your help to prevent the unwanted pregnancies? 1 million women are burdened with the very, very difficult decision of aborting their pregnancy and aborting that fetus and terminating the life of their soon-to-be child. Where are you? Don't you want to help 1 million women not get to that point with helping them not get pregnant in the first place? It's very hypocritical. And I'm tired of it. I think a lot of people are. And really, to put politics ahead of lives stuck on the International Space Station, who cares who gets credit? Bring them the flip home. 1-877 Doc Daliah.
Hi, everyone. If you've been injured in an accident and think you deserve compensation, listen up. We have legal professionals standing by right now. They'll tell you if you have a case and how much it's potentially worth. Call 800-910-7500. That's 800-910-7500. Call now to find out how much your case could be worth.
Advertisement sponsored by Legal Help Center. May not be available in all states.
At Hot Shot Secret, we share the science behind common diesel problems. For example,
Diesel fuel cetane levels.
the cetane rating in diesel fuel is 42 to 45. Most diesel engines operate more efficiently with a cetane rating of 48 to 50. One treatment of Hot Shot Secret Diesel Extreme will raise your cetane 7 points, increase fuel economy, and improve cold starts.
Hot Shot Secret Diesel Extreme is available nationwide at truck stops, fine farm and auto stores, and online at hotshotsecret.com. Hot Shot Secret, powered by science.
Self-reliance. It's not a phrase we hear much in our culture these days. It might conjure up images of pioneers, the West, rifles, strapping men, and strong women. But what does it mean for us in today's world? The New American Magazine has just released its latest collector's edition, Self-Reliance, Foundation of Freedom. In it, the New American authors outline the necessity of self-reliance for a free people, tips for self-reliant living, and the importance of not giving up hope. This unique edition includes articles on the self-sufficiency of the founders, preparing for a worst-case scenario, firearms, financial self-reliance, the importance of community, and many other topics by expert writers. Now, for a limited time, the New American is offering a bundle of 3 collector's editions, Self-Reliance, The Great Reset, and Trump World, for just $19.95. Available at shopjbs.org. Visit shopjbs.org today.
Daliah Show. Thank you all for tuning in. 1-877 Doc Daliah, 1-877 DOCDALI. So this next segment is PG-13 plus. So if there's any kids in the minivan, you might want to lower the volume of this or listen to the segment when the kids aren't around. But we are going to be talking about how there was a study looking at the quality of your semen and what that could mean in terms of your longevity and your health. So this is a fascinating study, not the first of its kind. Many times they do look at what our body excretes and how it could be a marker of our health. And so this is obviously very important. Just if you don't mind, can you wait until I finish the segment before you actually look and evaluate what we're talking about? So there's a major study looking at men This spans over 50 years. And they looked at men with low sperm quality. And they found that low sperm quality could mean you might die nearly 3 years earlier than your peers that have healthy swimmers. This is being reported by Daily Mail. And there are some clues, all right? And because some of you will say, so what? Do I have to send it to the lab? They said there's a way that you can look at this yourself. They say semen that contains healthy sperm should be whitish gray or milky in color. There should be a thick and jelly-like consistency. There should also be at least 1.5 cc's or 1.5 milliliters of ejaculate, which equals a third of a teaspoon. They said, can you please wait? Just wait. You guys could just wait a few minutes until after this. Just write this down, and then you could check. See, listen, I know I'd be worried too if I was a dude. I just hope you guys listen. My ratings go down if you guys shut me off to go and check what your semen looks like. So just wait. Semen that is too thin or watery could be a sign of low sperm count or quality. If it's too thick or chunky, that could also be an issue. If there's a smell or changes in color, I always ask men to check if there's blood, because that's also a sign that there could be an issue with your prostate. So there's a lot that it could reveal. The eyes are the windows to your soul. Well, I'm sure I'll come up with a very smart slogan as it pertains to semen. So this latest study came from Denmark. They looked at 78,000 semen samples from men. Overall, they found that men with the highest quality of sperm, 120 million sperm per ejaculate, lived 80.3 years on average, compared to 77.6 years among those who had 5 million or fewer sperm per ejaculate. They said they also found that men who ejaculated less than a millimeter of semen were 60% more likely to die young than those who ejaculated 5 millimeters or more. That's a lot. Really, 5. I think they meant 1.5. Well, they said they were able to link a single disease to the shorter life expectancy, suggesting that semen quality may instead reflect on a man's overall health. So obesity, smoking, excessive alcohol, pesticide exposure, poor diet, that could all lead to a reduced sperm count. Hormonal changes. But lead study author and epidemiologist at Copenhagen University Hospital said the lower the semen quality, the lower the life expectancy. Now, you might not notice. You might go through life fine, and then all of a sudden, you and your partner aren't getting pregnant. Or you might say, I haven't been using protection, and come to think of it, I don't have any children. We don't usually evaluate that on a whole because insurance may not pay for it, or people go and they get their cholesterol checked or their blood sugar checked. They don't necessarily ask to do that test. Also because it could be a little embarrassing for people because they have to go to a room and submit, into a cup. Although it'd be nice if you could do it at home. And some allow you to now. But it's not a part of the routine screening. Well, they suggest that maybe before you have problems, it's nice to know, not only for your fertility, but it could also be a marker that there's something else going on. If the average young person that wants to conceive and start a family is not necessarily testing for diabetes and everything, but they end up having issues with their sperm, that could be a sign they have issues from a testosterone standpoint, from diabetes standpoint, from a cardiovascular standpoint. So this is very interesting. And you usually don't know. There are warning signs like low sex drive, trouble with sexual function, reduced body or facial hair, which could indicate low testosterone. If you have any pain or swelling or issues with the testicle, that could be very serious. If you have a lump on the testicle, get that checked out immediately. But the study was published in the journal Human Reproduction. And what they did is they looked at semen samples collected from men concerned about fertility, because the average person doesn't do that for poops and giggles. So these were individuals concerned about fertility. And this took place between 1965 and 2015. So this is a huge amount of data. Men in the studies were 32 years old on average. They had abstained from masturbation for 3 days before visiting the doctor's office, so their semen could be tested for volume, sperm concentration, sperm shape, motility, and the proportion of sperm capable of reaching the egg. My favorite video that can highlight this or metaphorically show you what's going on was the Look Who's Talking movies. where you saw, I think Bruce Willis was the sperm, and they were like, yee-haw, I get around, round, round. They were doing it to the Beach Boys song, and you saw the sperm get there and try to break through to the egg. It added a great visual, not 100% scientifically accurate, but it did produce a picture of how some sperm will never make it, some sperm will go the other way, some sperm might not move, but the strongest one. It's interesting. My kid was little, but when my younger son was younger, he said something to me, going, I must be a good. It was something about good swimming, where he must have the power to be a good swimmer, because he had just learned about how it took sperm being good swimmers, or he saw the movie, to get to the egg. I got to remember what his quote was because it was adorable. But anyway, so researchers suggest that the lower sperm count could be linked to damage by free radicals, which are unstable molecules that could damage DNA and cellular function, poor diet, other things. So, if you are concerned and you want your doctor to look at health markers, your hair growth. We talked about how erectile dysfunction is could be a sign of heart disease. If you're having issues with blood flow to the penis, you could be having issues with blood flow to the heart. So if you're having issues below the waist, that's not just a below the waist issue. It does involve the heart. It does involve the brain. And so our fertility could be a sign of health issues. Now, I'm not saying people who aren't fertile are going to die young. But what if the fertility is altered because of some other medical issue? And people always say, well, I have plenty of sperm. Yeah, but do they swim well? What about the semen? Does the semen allow these healthy sperm to move? A lot of things have to go right for people to get pregnant. Just like a female. They have to ovulate at the right time. You get pregnant in the fallopian tube. Everybody thinks you get pregnant in the uterus. Most pregnancies happen in the fallopian tube. So the egg has to come off the ovary, get into the fallopian tube. It has to be able to move, get there, meet with the sperm, be hospitable to the sperm. And the female's vagina has to also be hospitable. If it's hostile, a hostile environment could affect sperms. Going, okay, too hostile, we're not going to go here. Heck no. This won't be compatible. They meet in the fallopian tube, then they come down to the uterus. The uterus, because you should be in that stage where you have progesterone building up the lining, will recognize that now there's a zygote and there's a fertilized egg, and the fertilized egg will then begin to grow. You will send signals to not have your period so that you don't bleed and slough it off, and then hopefully that baby can take. When I was in medical school, I was told 1/3 of all pregnancies make it. Really, only 1/3. Now, they're including, at the microscopic level and gamete level, there could be issues. But so it's something to look at. Look how I'm teaching you guys things. 1-877 Doc Daliah, don't go away.
Did you know that healthy arteries make a gas? Yes, actually 3 known gases. Hi, I'm Dr. Mitch, and nitric oxide is a gas that's readily made all day long to keep our arteries open by relaxing the blood vessel walls. By doing this, our circulation is increased, bringing blood, oxygen, and nutrients to every part of your body. Both age and poor diet can lead to a loss of this precious gas, and in turn, blood pressure can go up, energy can go down, and you can get tingling in your hands and feet. Well, our product, Ultimate Nitric Oxide, can easily help fix this lack of nitric oxide. Go to TotalWellness.com. That's TotalWellness.com, where we are helping you to look good, feel good, and enjoy total wellness.